minutes of cardio 3 times a week was the real schedule.
Yeah.
You couldn't eat the amount of calories that I ate and not be fat no matter.
I like it too. It's great. It's good. When we start doing talking heads, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to build a whole set in the corner for season 2. Like, that's why I cleared this whole room, took all the carpet's gone. I'm building it.
Every single time that I have to transition from being on my ass in front of the screen the whole time mixing to standing up in front of a microphone, which is more rare than you would assume. I'm just like, there has to be a way.
Look at this better way right here, man. Look at this, the articulation.
I literally want my keyboard on one of those.
It's the Tesla of microphones.
I just swing that bad boy down.
Yeah.
2 cranes and my keyboard emerges. You know what I'm saying?
I bet you can make that function.
I would never leave the chair again.
Yo, everybody, what up? And welcome to the first episode of A Conversation with Chris. This is our weekly retrospective show that's just for the members, where we're going to be going back through the first 21 episodes, deep diving it, talking about behind the scenes stuff, and answering some of your burning questions that you didn't think you wanted to know, but now you know. Join with me this week, as usual, will be Xander, our host slash producer slash questionnaire, and also with us, my co-writer, Tommy Jones, also the musical liaison who writes that beautiful theme that you get to jam out to every week.
Now, here's the problem. If your show is called Conversations with Chris, are you too allowed to be, and you're the Chris in question,
I believe I am,
are you allowed to then be the person who hosts the show of the conversations with
welcome
yourself?
To our first ever minor
why do you care how I run my shit?
Because we invented this shit together.
That's true. Okay, so I'm trying to teach Xander how to do it so that he can take that place. I didn't know he had hit record until it showed up on my YouTube. So I just saw it and went, oh, I guess we're live. So somebody had to take initiative.
Well,
yeah, Xander. So that's kind of how that's supposed to go.
Yeah, to be fair, you did say, you did say start the stream when we see him. I was like, oh, there he is.
Oops. Oh, so we've been live. I asked if they could hear me.
Xander, you just give us one of those, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, live from the Minor Defense Fortress. It's Conversations with Chris.
I kind of want to hear him do it. Yeah, I kind of want to hear him do it. We don't have a theme song for this yet, but Tommy's on it.
It's gonna be very game show-esque though. This one is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Let's hear it, Xander.
What? Huh? Who?
Just do it. Just do the thing. Do the thing.
The thing that we were just talking about?
Yeah, do the thing. Yes.
You know what?
The thing.
That's it. Write this down, Chris. Xander needs kazoo.
That's kazoo. Got it.
Xander needs kazoo.
I was going to do an ocarina, but I think a kazoo is a great secondary choice. All right, Xander, do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today on our newest episode of Conversation with Chris. We find out what Chris was really thinking in the very first edition of MDF. I messed up a little bit, but
what was that title you were going to say?
I was going to say Catching a Predator, but I was like, that's not even anyone's. That's not even anyone's.
It's close enough, dude. I'm not trying to get canceled. Come on.
That's the totally wrong
Chris. Yeah, wrong Chris, bro.
Wrong Chris.
You got the wrong one. Hey, everybody in chat, what up? What up? You got the wrong Chris, dog. I mean, I know I'm handsome, but I'm not have a seat right here.
But you're not Chris Handsome?
Not Chris.
I missed the entire boat on this whole show. I just missed the whole thing. I should have played the character of Chris Handsome.
Chris Handsome.
I'm telling you. Well, I mean, it's my fault. I incubate the writing. I should have seen that a long time ago.
God almighty.
I mean?
Chris Handsome.
Chris Handsome.
I guess it's going to be a bit in a show where I'm just playing the other one.
That's a bit. It's a good.
It's a bit. Put it on the bit list.
That's what this whole conversation with Chris is really about. It's just time to facilitate writing brand new bits. Just write that down.
Well, that's what I told you that's probably what's going to accidentally happen. Chat gets to watch us live, literally come up with bits. That's what happens. That's the whole show. Conversation with Chris is just that. Where it's the writer's room.
But look, we're leaning that way. We introduced the idea of sitting down. We introduced a director/pred chair, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, it was going to lean into Chris Handsome at some point.
Chris Handsome is the guy. For those of you that are just joining us in this Members Only Live, you may not have noticed, but we actually are late tonight for a very specific reason, as we filmed our first catch of season 2. So my first question is going to be, what did you think of that? How did that go? What do you think, Xander? You were there, I think.
It was. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
That was like the first one I think we've done in a while where I didn't talk almost at all. I took on a lot more of the security role in that one because there was just so many people. Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed, the guy who originally had approached us and was causing a scene. Like I literally, when he got close to the car, I was following him around. He tried to wave me away. I was like, nope. As long as you're close, so am I. Because I was watching that.
Safer already.
Yeah, I was watching that guy.
Safe and sound, actually.
And then also what I told Nate is I was like, Nate, whatever side of the car I'm on, be on the other side.
Beautiful. Cool. So there was a plan. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to hand over the reins to you guys because this is a conversation with me, not my conversation with you.
Okay. So fair enough. Look, in the construct of this show, conversations with Chris. By the way, Xander, how are you presenting this box that I'm in right now? Do I have a box? Am I a mysterious voice from on high?
You are a mysterious voice from on high.
You're all black right now,
box.
actually. Yeah, you're completely black on the
black
YouTube
box of doom.
Okay, yeah. So let's go there. So this has nothing to do with the introduction of Minor Defense Force as a concept, but this box that I'm in is actually a visual. It's just that my power went out, and then that was immediately followed by my kids freaking out, who are now in the next room with their mother, and they're not going to go to bed till the power's back on. And it's Duke Energy, so that should be 3 days from now, at least.
You guys are having a candlelit vigil over there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is the way to do it.
There is actually a visual. It just so happens to be this one. So
yeah, but I mean, every episode you're played by a different character anyway, so it's fine.
So Minor Defense Force, so the first question I'm going to have for you, of course, the story of Minor Defense Force is actually 2 different stories.
Yeah.
Right. The first story is how you decide to enter the realm of predator catching. And then the other side of that story is how we decide to turn that into a show that's not having to do anything with the rest of the realm of predator catching.
Right.
So
yeah.
So it's appropriate for me to ask this because I'm not sure that I have the answer to this, and I don't think that I've ever asked. But where are you the moment that this bubble, this thing that's growing, the predator catch community, where are you when that lands on your doorstep and then sends you down the rabbit hole, and then you start checking that out?
Well, it actually happened twice to me before I finally made the decision. The first time was actually during quarantine. After our business went out, and I was sitting there all day, every day. A lot of people.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Hey, look, that business led to this one, so I'm good with it.
I mean,
we got to hear
me right out of the gate.
So we lost our business for COVID. We were in a mall.
I love your explanation. You think you're your greatest failure ever. Okay, great. Now that you have that, thanks.
You got to start. Look, started from the bottom. Now we're here, baby. L's aren't losses; they're lessons. Let's keep rolling. So I'm sitting there watching a lot of Survivor, and then I'm also starting going on YouTube, and I'm starting to see these predator catchers. Interesting enough, the pieces of shit that came in here and caused a lot of problems in our area were who I really got into. I really started watching their shit a little bit during quarantine, and then I kind of got into some other algorithms and shit, right? started watching a lot of Shapiro and some other stuff, so I kind of forgot about it. I'd see it on TikTok every once in a while and go like, man, I could do this way better than them. Blase. So then I'm working at Verizon. I don't remember exactly why, but I happened to pull one of the. Oh, I do actually. There was a TikTok viral video I saw of Alex, aka Gordon Flowers, catching a guy in Charlotte with terabytes of child pornography on his computer. And, he's telling the guy, like, it's fine. The guy's crying, calling his girlfriend, and the cops come in and arrest him. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm still better talker than this guy. And so I'm literally sitting at the store for about a week or two watching this during lunch, and I'm going to Xander and I'm like, dude, I really think we could do this better. I just need, and Xander wasn't involved at this point. I was like, I need somebody else with me. I can't do this by myself, but I want to do this. And I think I'd even come to you and told you I was thinking about it. I believe I had mentioned to you I was watching that.
Yeah, and here's how that I was the first person that you came to, and here's how the conversation went. In the course of you talking about this and being on the doorstep of asking me, it dawns on you that I'm not going to be collected in these situations.
No.
And so you're I think, yes, you set about a conversation with me to ask whether or not I want to accompany, and you talk yourself out of it. You talk yourself out of it in the course of that, which is the right call, which is, it is exactly the right call. Right. Because like the entire point you're saying, you don't want to be aggressive, and we can get to that about the construct of what the catching is and all that. Yeah. But your idea that you don't want to do that, you're out to create an interrogation, right? Your idea to do that instantly means I'm not going with you. Right. Because the interrogation is not going to go well.
Well, I happen to have firsthand knowledge with you and I on how stuff like that can go. And so they don't want none. And so I'm sitting there at the store and I'm looking around and there's a bunch of dudes that work with me. And I'm just like, I don't know if any of these guys could do it. And I was talking about something I don't remember. And Xander was like, I'd go with you. Yeah. And I was like, you would? Really? Because Xander, honestly, last person I thought would say that out of the store.
Right now, I'm on to direct.
But these other guys are like tough guys. They think they're tough guys. These other guys we work with, they think they're fucking tough. So I was like, one of these guys is going to want to fucking roll.
So Xander, I'm gonna direct this question over to you because we've got you there. Let me put you in the other side of the seat here, if you will. Not that seat, not the proverbial seat. That's not the seat you'll be in tonight. Okay. Thank you.
Other seat.
Okay.
Gotcha.
No, not that seat.
Not that seat.
So when he approaches you with this, does he have any idea that you've got fighting in your background?
I don't. I may have mentioned it, but I don't think he knew like how much I did. I think probably like because as he mentioned, a lot of the guys that we worked at that time, a lot of them would talk about like things they had done in their past, like basically like guys talk about how tough.
Let me get this straight. Are you trying to tell me that salespeople are people who think of themselves as hot shit? Is that what you're saying?
Hot take, but a lot of them do.
Really? The truth is our manager there at the time, MMA fighter.
Yeah,
that's what I went to first.
Him
like a legit MMA fighter.
Him and I had like lots of conversations about MMA,
and I overheard those.
Yeah, and so like he probably knew that I was familiar to the scene, but like I had about 5 years of experience doing it myself. But
I didn't know that.
In my experience, our manager at the time, the one that like had fighting experience. Him being an outlier, usually when people are martial artists and are well equipped to defend themselves, they don't talk about it near as much as people who actually aren't as equipped to defend themselves, in my experience.
Well, and you know what? As you get older, that's one of the first things that we learn about professionalism. It's a funny term to use in lieu of what we're talking about. But one of the very first lessons you learn about a badass is he's the last person who's going to tell you that, right? That it's irrelevant to his lifestyle. Right. But then as you get older, you recognize that's a truism across any professional board. Right. If you've networked yourself into good connections, you don't go talking about the connections. It's not how things work. Right. So that's true of any person who's legitimate in any profession. Right. But Xander, you got to be aware of this, though. From what little I know of you, you seem to me to be a very intuitive, very with it guy. But you're not the most threatening dude in the world.
No, I'm not.
Right? You got to know that about yourself, right?
So it's actually really funny. When I was doing MMA and everything, there was actually quite a few times. Like, I'm not a small guy, so but like I don't come off as threatening as you said at all. So there was a lot of times in the gym when I was like It happened the most when I was boxing, but like with a lot of things where I guess people thought like I would. Like, they didn't try to bully me, but, like, they would go for fighting styles they would do against somebody that you don't think is much. But my exact fighting style, my coach called it Homer style, which was I would get in. I didn't care if I took hits because my plan was I'm going to hit you harder. And I often
It's kind of like the Tyson philosophy.
Yeah.
Of, like, no one took him seriously because he was shorter until, oh, my God, that's my...
Go ahead.
Dog, you've been frozen for 5 minutes. What are you talking about?
What? Oh, was I?
Bro, what?
And in that time, he told us the secret of life, which is really unfortunate.
It's okay. I screenshot you in a perfect position. It's fine. Continue, please.
Oh.
Is the stream still on?
Yeah, it's back on.
Yeah,
we're back.
I guess my internet
Okay,
connection
Xander,
crapped out.
Where we left off, we were talking about people you using to your advantage, that you're fully aware of the fact that you're not presenting yourself as somebody who should be considered a threat. Which, look, in any realm of society is a good thing. That's what that's how you're supposed to be, right?
Like something that I heard that what's his name? Was it Jordan Peterson? He's like a psychiatrist. That he says all the time is somebody who is incapable of doing anything wrong cannot be truly good. They're just inept. They're useless. You have to have the capability to do something bad to be good, because you have to choose not to, which is something I really believe. So, like, I always have the knowledge. Like, I'm not saying I could beat up anybody in the world, but I always have the knowledge. If a fight breaks out, I am confident in my ability to win in most scenarios. Like, I'm confident I can take care of myself. So I don't.
Xander, is his extensive studies, which are not his exclusively, but his extensive studies on what it means to actually be an alpha, which has far more to do with taking care of the community than it does with squaring off against individuals and or packs alone.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah.
So let me walk this back for a second. So, all right. So, Chris, now you're watching this. You've fallen down the rabbit hole.
Hard.
Now you're asking around. It dawns on you.
I actually didn't ask around. I went to my manager only.
Okay.
Because of his history in MMA. And I asked him if he would just join me in case something happens and hold a camera. He wanted 50% of the business that didn't exist.
My 50%?
Well, now, yeah, but I'm saying that's what he wanted. He wanted 50%. And I was like, of what? Of the business, brother. And I was like,
what business?
I said, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah. So I was kind of feeling a little defeated. Then Xander's sitting across from me. And that's when he looks over at me when I'm talking about it. Like a couple days later, he goes, fuck it, I'll do it.
That's what I was pretty much exactly, yeah.
And he didn't say fuck it because Xander doesn't cuss. He's like Will Smith of fucking Predator catchers. And I was like, wait, really? You? He's like, yeah. I was like,
this guy is much more level-headed than being the Will Smith Predator catchers.
I'm not gonna walk in and slap a Predator.
Okay, so let me speed you guys along a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you're gonna have to do a couple of things. You're gonna have to develop a style by which you're going to go out there on these apps, going to take the knowledge of what you've learned by watching other people, dating all the way back to the guy who basically created this format, who is Hansen, right?
Of course.
So you're going to have to walk it all the way back to deciding how you're going to go about doing this. But here's the thing I want you to talk about that I don't think, we've mentioned this a few times on the show. I have a profound interest in how the sales techniques, some of which are long form, some of which I invented myself, have encouraged you to use those techniques in the middle of not only chatting, but then we're going to also get into the actual catching, because in the interrogation itself, some people might even say that the style of your interrogation is not as aggressive to what their tastes are. And that's fine, because we've always said we think that there's enough differences to go around with this form of entertainment or true crime or whatever it is that you're calling. But when it comes to just the chatting alone, and you're trying to develop a style, talk to me about the parallels between sales, the sales techniques that you would use, and what you're doing as a chatter.
Well, when I started doing chatting that day, there wasn't an example really of how a full chat would go, because none of these channels had the full chat logs. They had some of them, right? And so I saw a couple of tropes. This is my age, and how they would mention it. What?
I'm just pointing at the cat.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, his cat?
Yeah, just
messing with the fucking. That's a bug zapper because I pulled the carpet out.
In some other universe. Look, that right there.
Do it live.
Was 2 shots. Everybody had to take 2 shots right there. You know what I'm saying?
I think she sees something.
Okay, so the question is, So
I've always been a philosopher, or I've always believed that every conversation is a sale, and at least since we began philosophizing, about sales when I was 19 years old. It's one of those things where you're born a salesman. I feel like I've always been kind of that, and so I knew that you were going through a sales process. What I didn't realize is how fucking easy it was going to be. Right. Not every one of them is so cut and dry. Not everyone is, here's the fucking thing, ask for the sale, and they just go fucking close. Like, it's not always that easy.
For sure.
But I'm the one who sometimes has to throw objections. So I'm also having to come through it as a fucking person getting sold.
Well,
I'm having to sell
and
myself as the person getting sold, because I can't be the entrapper. I cannot convince them to fucking do me. I mean, I don't know how else to say that.
Something that people, I don't know if they'd find this interesting or not, but there's an inverted sell that's happening here.
Yes.
Just like you said, number one, because you're not the person who's going to make the invite or the greeting or the whatever. So that's taken away from you. You're not setting the tone. They're setting the tone.
No.
And then you have to corroborate whatever the person says while seeming like you're a fleshed out enough person that you may have trepidations about some things and not. Now, that's categorically opposed to sales. If you tell me that you want anything, I instantaneously agree to it and move along. Right? That's how you
sell. And you're right. And so I have to play a little bit of a hard to get to some of these guys. And some of them I have to do pull-aways and takeaways. I'm literally, through sales, selling myself by not being direct. I'm indirect selling the whole time, because I'm basically forcing them to take me through the sales process. And that's fucking difficult. It is not the same thing.
We spoke about that in one of our last episodes where I was writing about the puppy dog clothes.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's because, and maybe people find this interesting, and maybe they don't. I'm not sure, but you're constantly in a state of using that close, right? Yes. Because it doesn't specify that this person has any actual wants and or needs. And that's important, because when it comes to catching, you've got to be able to prove to the authorities that you don't ever introduce the want or need. Okay, so here's what we're at then. You decide to do that, and now that brings us to Diego.
Yeah, so the first day we had 7 guys.
So you had 7.
The first day while we're sitting we don't have a name for this thing yet. No. I'm just like, let me just put a whisper out there and just see how many people be okay with fucking 14-year-olds. And I hate to say
without giving me any names, your first decoy, is this a person that you know?
Yes.
Okay.
A real good friend of mine who's willing to come on and talk to us sometime too.
Okay. And so the decoy, this is the person you affectionately have gone on to title.
This is Olivia.
This is Olivia.
Olivia's first. Yep.
So he contacts Olivia.
Yes.
And to sort of speed this thing, how astonished were you? At this, because obviously I've gone through the entire transcripts, and then of course we had to go back. We made our retrospective episode, and I went up and down the entire transcript.
And everybody that's watching this right now can go into the Gilded and see the entire chat logs.
How surprised are you? Because what Diego does, Diego's sort of you don't always get this, and it's actually getting scarier because you're getting less of this. But half of him is treating this emotionally.
Yeah.
And the other half of him, of course, he's sexualizing things and making sure that he can push further and further in that direction. But how surprised are you that you're in the middle of a semi-emotional conversation?
Shocking. It speaks to, the thing we talk about, how these are lonely people. So, and I'm not making that as an excuse, but I think they think that if they build this emotional repertoire with this child, the child's less likely to tell on them. I think that's what it is. It's very much, what is that condition where you fall in love with your captor?
Stockholm syndrome.
It's very much a Stockholm situation that they're trying to create, I think, where if the kid really has affections, they're less likely to tell on them.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
I think you're right. I'm not sure I would attribute that level of analysis to Diego as much.
Okay. As subconscious as it was, it's kind of like that. He clearly needs a buddy, and we know that because he kept emailing me for months after.
Oh Lord, we'll get there.
Yeah.
That's look, how obviously there have been people who are doing exactly that. It's just an advanced form of grooming. And then obviously we've had specifically one case where it's purely only emotional and it might not be anything else. And even if that question exists, then it means we have to treat it differently. We cannot treat it the same.
But you and I both know that in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, is this a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Always.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean? It just boils down to, if there is a question, look, what we lack in brutality up front in these catches, we make up for when the
in the back. Oh yeah.
So here's the thing: if I'm gonna write that viciously, right, then at the end of the day, like, we cannot have a question, right? But so, anyways, with Diego. So now you've got this to the point where it's going to be a catch. Now, Xander, when are you aware exactly how things are, where they are, and when does he tell you we're going to go out and perform this catch, Xander?
It was honestly a very gradual thing, if I remember, because like the first day with like all the conversations and everything, like it was like Chris was like, we're doing this, like, all right, we're doing it, and then Chris was like, all right, I'm already chatting, all right, we got people. And they were like, well, we need to name this thing. And I was like, acronym that sounds official, MDF. What do we call it? Minor Defense Force. Bam, Chris had the logo, everything. But then I think it was, a few days while you were chatting and letting me know, hey, we might have a catch.
Well, we're working together.
Yeah.
And so I'm keeping you kind of abreast to it, and then, as it's happening.
Yeah, and then, like, when it's about to happen, like, I've already, like, informed my wife, like, hey, this is something we're going to be doing. And
the first thing we decided was that we were going to wear suits. Like, we were going to dress better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And we weren't going to go up and start accosting anybody. We wanted to ask the questions, because to me, it's more important to pretend empathize so that they're willing to talk to me.
If you remember, though, actually,
and I think we've proven that mostly.
Oh yeah, you wore a suit. I didn't, because like I was like, well, what if he runs? I want to be ready to run after him.
Oh yeah, that's right. You dressed separately because of the run. You only really wore a suit for like DJ Roger.
Yeah,
that's true.
So now I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something slightly weird. I'm going to take you guys from the actual catch, post catch, and there's a reason, because I want to talk about that catch, and I want to talk about what's going on in your head. And this is the first time you guys are out there, and look, for all intents and purposes, you might get your face shot off. You don't know that, right? So
that's true.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But what I want to do is I want to create sort of a parallel narrative here. Okay. So when I'm introduced to your catch for the first time, my mother calls me on the phone. And my mother says, what is that freeze doing?
Savella asked that? I didn't know that.
And I say, I don't know. What do we mean? And she says, he's out there trying to like get predators or something. And I think to myself, I just think, oh my God, he's going to kill himself. So I immediately go and I watch what she's talking about. Now, here's what I see. Now, listen, if in fact you subscribe to the theory that all catching videos should be just the text and just the catch, then
that's what it was.
Then you'd be happy to know that, or you'll be sad to know that there was a world that existed where that could have been the case had I not intervened. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's true. But members can actually still watch that original uncut episode. It's still on there.
Right. So, but with that said, I mean, look, that is the format that most folks go with. And to me, I don't want every comedy to be the same. I don't want every sci-fi.
We actually, if I recall, had a pretty knockout, drag out argument about it, because I was suggesting that the numbers suggest that this works, and you were like, "Yeah, but it's boring."
So here's, I watch it, and here's what happens. For 20 minutes, you are scrolling through every single word of the entire conversation. 20 minutes worth of it.
Yep. Well, I didn't
right?
know it was that long.
So then when I get through that, or in that first video iteration, I don't even know if you still have that first video iteration.
Yes, it's on YouTube. You can still watch it.
I don't know. I think that's a truncated version, because I believe I've seen what that one, and that's not the same. Anyways, so
you're saying there's 3 cuts?
So then it's the entire catch, and of course, catches are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But my takeaway was, you're out there, you're in danger. The first thought that hit me was my best friend's going to get killed. That's the first thing that goes through my head. Right. So I got to call you up, and I got to scream at you, because that's logical. That's what you do. Right. And then the second thing that comes up is plus it's all wrong. Right. Like
yeah. Secondary, but close.
So I call you up.
Yeah.
And the first words out of my mouth, what the fuck is wrong with you? Have you bumped your head?
I believe it was something like that. Yeah.
Have you bumped your fucking head? What are you doing? Right. And so you're telling me, and you're hyped up. I'm doing this, not only, people are going to watch it. Number one. Number two, it's a good thing I'm doing. I said, okay, look, be that as it may. What the fuck? You're going to get your head knocked off. Well, maybe I will. Right. Yep. So I rear back and I say, all right. Number two, this sucks. This is terrible. Right. This is terrible. This is terrible for a living. And you go, oh, everything's always terrible with you, which is true. And so,
okay. Yeah.
You go, so what would you do? And I lay out a format. And then in the course of about 45 minutes, you and I back and forth talk about, well, would the talking head only be up here? Or would it be, okay, if we did it all the way through, that would be different. If the commentary goes all the way through, that would be different. If we if we stuck some real life, real jokes into it, that would be different. What people need to understand, I think, is, so you had already done a lot of comedic work, and you and I had already done some programs together. And I felt like I didn't get to see any of your personality in that initial video. I felt like I was watching just any pred catching video.
You specifically said, dude, the fucking Predator's not the character. It's y'all. You're the character.
And I'm adamant about that. And when people fight back on that, and they say, we just want to see that, my initial takeaway is that Predator doesn't get to be the star of the show. Not our show. Some other show, if they want to make him the star of the show, that's fine. Right? If they want,
you should say that. Yeah.
But there's something to do with like copycatism that occurs when you glorify people, even if what you're trying to do or attempting to do is rip them down. Right? So in my mind, it was like, that's not the star. Chris is the star of this program. He's the host. He introduces it. He makes, he cracks wise about the guy, whatever the case might be. And so it initially starts there. But then that's not it.
You said, and you were asking me to tell you about the catch. And I was telling you the story. And you said, that's the talking head. Just go do that. Just tell the story.
And exactly that. When you laid the story out to me, and you had your wisecracks about the things you thought were funny, the stuff that had surprised you, you shrugged and it surprised you. And I thought to myself, dude, this is more compelling than the thing you showed me. Right. So if you tell me and you go, now this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And my eyes may not be directed. A lot of the things you said in that conversation, I didn't even see in the video. You informed me how to watch the video. Huh. And when you directed, well, he tries to do this, he tries to do that. I go, oh, is that what that guy's doing? And so because of that, I thought, if I had this the entire time, and if I got to see your personality, and if you got to be funny, and of course that evolves great, right? But if I got to do those things, this would be a far more entertaining program. And that was my takeaway about it. So then comes the 5 days consecutive where you and I, for hours a day, go over every detail from how the text are going to look, where they should show up, where the talking head should be, how much, what is this segment, what is this scene, where the music should hit to the exact second that the music should hit.
We literally went through royalty music after royalty music after royalty music to find something that worked.
Yeah, and it was a lengthy process by which to really get that show right, because what I felt was if you just do it out of the gate properly, right, then you'll know what the template is. You'll never have to work this hard on it again. Oh boy, was that completely
fucking wrong?
Was that ill-informed? Right?
I feel like every episode was harder.
Dude, I write 50 hours a week just on this show per week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right on top of my writing job. So that was one of the most ill-conceived constructs of all time. Right. But so that's the story of how the actual show goes. Because MDF it's not just a predator catching team, but it's also a show. We approach it as a show. And look, I mean, if you give it all the credit to say it's just a shitty YouTube show, then sure, and that's what it is. And if you give it enough credit to go like, oh, it's a show. They approach it as a show. They got a host. They have a voiceover guy. They, it's this thing. Okay, great. It's all about our accepting what it is that we're doing. If you accept it, then it's real, right?
Right.
It's a show. If you accept it to be a show, that and certainly that's how we approach it. I mean, you edit for 40, 50 hours a week. I write for 40, 50 hours a week. Then you do all of the talking heads and the bits and and we put literally our life is completely upside down because of it. I literally have notes where I've sent you that says, then you take off your shirt and scream at things. You know what I mean? And that's become our work.
To be fair, I did it first, and you went, do more of that.
and never not more of that.
Never, just fuck it.
Do you have a joke here? No. Okay, well then scream at a cat.
Take your shirt off. Yeah, fuck it.
Just scream at a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just happens.
So that's the story of how it starts, both in the catching and how it starts as a show.
Because and at that time, while we're doing that, Xander and I caught 5 dudes that first week.
Yeah, it was like back to back.
We caught 5 within a week. So literally, while you and I are doing this at night, we're going and catching people and have these episodes in the back already in the fucking back channel.
Okay, so now I'm going to take you guys to the catch, and I'm going to fire off some questions at you. Again, as a writer, Chris and I, we write this program together. We conceived the program together, and we write the program together. Yeah. Every bit, every talking head, every soapbox rambling session.
Everything.
You can thank me for those things. If you disagree with me adamantly, I'm the hate mail. Okay, so when you guys go to do this catch, give me some insight. Xander, I want to hear from you. Give me some insight into the conversation you guys are having right before that. Like, you guys are going to show up and you don't know what's going to happen. Give me some insight into what you're thinking and what your guys' conversation like, Xander.
So, from what I remember of like what was going on, is it got like on our way there, we're talking about like all like how we're gonna do it, like trying to break down like what we're gonna do and everything. Then we arrive, we know what he looks like, we know what we're waiting for, and it actually like at a certain point got pretty quiet. Like we would talk a lot, but for a lot of it, like Chris was monitoring the chat, seeing like trying to get him to go in the store when he arrived. I was like recording and like very adamantly watching the door, trying to see when he came through, trying to like monitor it. So for a while, the car was actually really quiet, and I would say there were definitely some nerves. But up until like the getting ready for the approach, like oddly calm. I felt very like I knew what I was doing. I had a job to do. I had to watch out for him when he was there. Bam, go. Like I wasn't really nervous at that point. Like all the nerves were leading up to it's about to happen. But then once we're there and waiting for him, like they already were kind of gone.
Right. So Chris, when you make the initial first words, right?
Yeah.
What's your contingency plan? Do you have a contingency plan? If this guy turns around and
we already had that set up. Yeah. So when we're approaching up to the electronics area, we're passing this guy waxing the floor, and you see it in the video where I look down at the phone to like see where he's at, but I already see him, and I tell Xander, go around the other side and come up behind him so we sandwich him in. That's where that fucking thing was born, was on the floor right there. I was like, you go stand behind him in case he turns to run. Boom, there you are. And that's exactly what we did.
Now look,
and that scared Diego.
Yeah, startled him.
So look, okay. So in a lot of predator catchers, you'll see that their method or lack of method or whatever the case is. Look, everybody loves the confrontation. I love the confrontation. You guys love the confrontation. Everybody loves to watch a confrontation. Okay, but there is a level of strategy that you employ out of the gate, Chris. You decide your method's going to be sort of top to bottom a transcript. This is how things played out.
Yes.
Right now, not everybody subscribes to that. In fact, most don't. So most everybody else, they get confrontational, they jump in the face. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to antagonize them or want to fight, but they are definitely, hey, this is why you're here. You're a piece of shit. Let's go outside and talk. If you don't, I'll start screaming. If I have to start screaming
on that one,
the cops will show up. Yada yada.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But you immediately go like, nah, I'm going to read the transcripts. Where does that come from?
Yes. I mean, I just decided like it's you know what it is? It's really a basic form of yes, of small yeses to get to the grand yes in sales. It's, can we agree that you said this? Yes. Well, then obviously everything else you said is true.
Right.
So in my head, it's going, if any of this is true, then it's all obviously true because you fucking said it. Because you'll hear them say like, well, I didn't know this, that, and the fourth, but you remember this detail and this detail, but somehow you missed this one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I'm using their own words against them. It's a sales process. It's very much small yeses, yeses.
So particularly,
but also putting it in their face. I'm using their words against them.
Particularly with Diego, Chris, you guys almost have a runner.
We do have a runner. We just ends up getting. He would have kept going if that door was unlocked.
So right out of the gate, you guys almost have a runner, as opposed to right out of the gate, you guys actually get an interrogation. Which, for all intents and purposes, dude, the first catch you ever try to run, to actually have a full-fledged interrogation is
too much.
Well, it's really surprising to be.
He wouldn't shut the fuck up after a certain point, which was hilarious. But we got a few questions before he ran, and really what it was, I sent and showed him his penis. Is that yours? And he goes, oh, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go.
Okay, Xander. The minute this guy starts walking off, now you guys are trailing after.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything going through your mind like, hey, dude, if I could just say this, or if I could come up with a way to phrase this correctly? And are you looking for some magic thing? Because when I watch you guys, look, part of what I do writing for this show, I have to watch. I watch the video religiously for a while, right? I'm really in the middle of like every single thing that happens. And a lot of times it looks to me like when you guys are in that scenario, when you're at loggerheads with somebody, they've decided, okay, I'm going to use this excuse and I'm not budging.
Right.
You guys are like asking yourselves, what's the perfect way to construct this sort of question by which this person will then break down? So when that guy's moving, is something like that going through your head? Like, look, man, if I could just say this thing, or are you just totally in fight or flight mode at that point?
I wouldn't say so. The way my brain was working at the time, which is pretty standard for me, is I knew for a fact at the beginning I had a job to do. If he ran or moved quickly, it was my job to stay on his butt. And so, like, the entire time, like, as you can see, I'm directly behind him the whole time. I'm like, no matter what this dude does, he's not faster than me. I'm staying behind him. And so I hear Chris, like, start getting loud, start yelling and everything. So I don't get as loud, but I start doing the same thing. I intentionally start saying things as we walk by people. My goal, like, what's going through my head is, number one, stay on his butt. Don't let him get away. B is I'm like, the more I can embarrass him, like if I make this a problem, the more of a problem it is for him to leave as opposed to when we were quiet talking, then he might decide, all right, you know what? So you guys will stop talking because I was talking at him, would get louder as we pass people. Every time I saw a person, I start getting louder because I wanted him to be embarrassed.
And your ultimate goal was what? Your job was if they run, get the license plate.
Yeah.
That was the instruction.
So like his job was either to try to walk home or go back to his car and get his license plate.
Yeah, and listen, I understand, like, you know, we're talking about the genesis of this program, but if you cut to right now, that very thing that you're discussing with me, Xander, that that's a conversation that Chris and I have all the time. We're looking for ways to diffuse running without having to be stuck in scenarios like you guys were stuck in tonight, right? We're trying to develop ways to do that. You know, it's nice when you have NBC's budget to create a fake house to send a predator to that is well lit with a camera crew, with the cops on board who've decided in advance not to touch them until your show host interrogates them to their fullest. Oh, wow, how that must be nice, right? In our case, you know, Chris and I have done a shit ton of discussions about what sort of seat can we bring and make you feel like you're stuck without saying you're stuck, but without alluding to that, because legally we know we can't do this. And that very thing right there, like, this guy's taking off on you. It's catch one. He's taking off. And your main job is be right there and yell as loud as you can. How do we get rid of this idea that we have to yell in locations, and we have to, you know, because inevitably you'll see this in lots of different predator catching scenarios. That makes the people there call the police. And then the catch is over, or whatever the case might be, right? Or it gives the guy enough time to take off before the police get there, right? When that's happening to you in that situation, if the guy would have ran all the way back to his car, do you guys know well enough to just let the guy go? Or at this point, do you not know well enough?
Yeah, we were pretty adamant at the beginning by making sure we tried to do this the whole, like, entirely the right way. We knew that we couldn't stop him from leaving. When he turned, like, because, for example, if we thought we could stop him from leaving, when he turned around and tried, because he walked past me, he was not going to move. Like, if I decided that he's staying here no matter what. But we made sure, like, we talked about it. We knew we could not stop him from leaving. That's why we knew we had to follow. I had to be on his butt, and we had to try to embarrass him to get him to stop running.
We honestly got that from Dap.
Yeah.
Was yell and scream and make sure people see this guy. That was
you know what the answer is? Here's what the answer is. I'm buying a fucking taco truck. Now, hear me out. Just hear me out.
I'm here for this.
Right?
What's going on?
From now on, this is what we do, okay? We're going to ask the predator in advance what his favorite shit to eat in this entire world is. Whatever that is, we pull up with our mock fucking taco truck, right? And it's like, it's a spin the wheel, make the deal kind of situation, right? It's a taco truck on Tuesday, but on Wednesday, maybe it's whatever the fuck he likes.
Spaghetti,
right?
bruh.
Right. So if you tell me, Predator 11 or whatever the fuck, if you tell me that your favorite food in the entire world to eat is churros, and I send you to the local whatever, but right outside of it is a churros stand, right? Then the decoy says, hey, they got a churros stand here just like you like. I'll meet you over there, right? Problem fucking solved. You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's the answer, is to get a taco truck. That, and I like tacos.
Let me just get that let me pull that budget out of my asshole. And
let's do that.
Let me get that one going real quick.
So
put it on the list.
We'll start a GoFundMe for taco truck.
Specifically, just mine.
And you know, those are lessons we learned over the first 21 episodes, 22 episodes or whatever was. And we implemented in Kyle Deckard's case of episode 22. Like, how do we get the guy to sit the fuck down and shut up and just listen and then talk?
But tonight is another good example of how sometimes you can't look, dude. You can't control the shit that you cannot control. You gotta focus on the shit you can control.
Fuck
right?
you, baby. Yeah.
But also, there's we're still very early in the beginning of this scenario, right? 20 something times is not a lot of anything. So at the end of the day, we're still trying to devise methods by which we don't stick you in the gas station with the music fucking blaring and people's engine being loud. And we get it.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah.
Nobody feels the frustration of that worse than us. You guys, while you're there, and I'm writing to this shit for hours on end, going, what did he say? What did he say? And just playing back and forth some predator. And especially given a night like tonight where the guy's like, he's taken so much meth, he doesn't know which multi-universe he subscribes to. Yeah. Right. On a night like
tonight's catch was pretty crazy. Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck I'm going to figure out what this guy's talking about. We're going to have subtitles. We're going to have you at the bottom of the screen as a translator.
See, that's the thing, though, is I was wearing a lapel mic, dude. I got clean audio. You just didn't know that yet.
Well, we'll see.
Audio's clean, bro. I got it. I already listened to some of it. It's clean.
So Diego heads directly to the door, Chris.
Yeah.
And the door
is
of
fucking
Walmart
locked.
the door of Walmart that he heads to just so happens to be in an area where they close that son of a bitch at about 7 p.m. It's in the garden, right? So he walks, boom, he's stuck. He turns back around. You guys are following him,
like right there,
Now, at the point where you guys start discussing, that's where you start going over the transcripts. Tell me some shit you thought was shocking about that initial conversation.
The first thing he says is this being live streamed?
Right.
Like he had an expectation that he was on a live stream, which of course until episode 12, no, none of them.
Right.
And so that was, I think, probably the first shocking thing to me was he thought we were live streaming, which is.
And why would he think that?
I'm assuming because he's probably seen other predator catching channels and knows that that's a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, he knows. He's not surprised. But what he doesn't know is nobody's doing it in this area because he's the first.
Right.
You know,
so
it's the whole that'll never happen to me thing, man.
Tell me some like revelations out of the conversation. I mean, other than the fact that all of a sudden you're looking at a grown man's dick, which has to be a whole brand new look. This is a brand new environment for you now.
Yeah.
Pardon my French, but by today's standards, we're up to our ears in dick. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that?
Up to the ears in dick? I think we have to say dick. Penis, but this is a members only live stream.
Up to the ears and genitalia?
No, dick is fine.
Oh,
genitalia is too fucking PC. Fuck you.
That's right. And listen, the whole point of being a member, you're an adult, right? We're all adults, right? If you're an adult, say it's fine.
Yeah, you paid. What's up?
Good.
You paid for this. It's fucking dicks to your fucking ears.
But other than that, other than just like the shocking, okay, so this guy went the full route with Dewey, sent you a picture and stuff. What is he talking about? And you're relating those messages to him now, to his face. What's uncomfortable? Tell me about that.
I think the uncomfortable part is he wanted to take her to McDonald's and eat her out in the parking lot. Like that was probably the weirdest thing he wanted to do. Because I'm like, bro, that's not even high class. That's fucking, what is that? That's not lower middle class. If that's a fucking prom date, dude, I'm out.
This guy's got a weird definition of Happy Meal.
You know,
but it was poetic. It's like go to McDonald's and get a fucking Happy Meal for this goddamn girl you want to eat out in the back of your car. It's fucking weird. She's the fucking little plastic prize you get at the end of the fucking box. Like it's fucking strange.
And listen, you would think to a specific degree that these predators wouldn't be like stereotypes of themselves, but they really are. The dress like the guy tonight, same. It's like these guys are stereotypes. They're parodies of themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the quintessential older guy, no teeth having, meth head, riding in a car with your buddy. You know what I mean? Who's pretending to not know why you're there or whatever. Who knows what his deal is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're not going to do anything. Right? Like it's all fucking parodies. So it's funny that it does start off like that.
To be fair, he was running late because he had just gotten off at work.
So you guys start going through the parking lot. Now tell me about how you handle.
But before we get to the parking lot, dude, I don't know if this made that final cut of the episode, but we're talking about phones. He's talking about something and he's asking us a question about something. And I go, yeah, it's because we have 5G. And he does this fucking weird thing. Where it's he's orgasmically excited about 5G. He's like, oh my God, 5G. In the first cut, I fucking subtitled it because I couldn't believe he fucking, like, dude, we're here to talk about you trying to fuck a kid. And you're like excited about 5G. It was the strangest shit. Like he didn't know where he was.
Well, I think it's weird. It's the first time you're really confronted with a guy. Look, so what you've done is you've taken away, it's in some ways, it's like the ultimate argument. Right? It's like your ultimate argument fantasy. It's where you show up to an argument with every piece of evidence you could ever have to win.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And so for the very first time, you're hearing somebody who is so out of excuses in deflective tactics that just anything that you're saying, he's going to say that and agree with you because it's the only method of deflection he's got.
Oh my God, 5G.
It's
like
just
exactly how he said it.
Yeah, it's just a weird defense mechanism.
Yeah. So we walk out to the car and we're starting. Do you have more on that? I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Yeah, look, I apologized.
I definitely want to fucking hear about the outside because what you're talking about. That's where the temperament starts to change, and then outside, this dude it's like he took this long to figure out, oh, I know
Bro,
what the route
but
is
you're
here.
missing the whole thing, dude. We tried to walk him from the garden 3 times.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go ahead and go outside. Come on, let's go ahead and walk out to your car.
Right.
Then he wants to move to the back corner of the garden center, even further back. And I'm just like, bro, can we please get the fuck out of here? Like, come on. I'm sick of this. Like, I was trying to get him to leave.
Well, and that's why I am taking you to the parking lot, because in the parking lot, that's where it seems to me that it dawns on him for the very first time. Like, a lot of these guys, they decide on a method that they're going to go with. Oh, I'm just here to tell her not to do it. Oh,
right.
I wasn't really going to do anything. Oh, I've seen these shows before. I really knew it was that. I was coming to give you guys a high five and give you a t-shirt. Whatever the fuck their excuse is, right? This guy decides, like 30 minutes late, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to befriend Chris. Yep. I'm going to become his friend. And that I'm going to be so good at becoming Chris's friend, he'll fucking naturally forget why he's here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that's where it happens. And Xander, while you're watching this guy decide to all of a sudden be your guys' friend, what's going through your head?
I like, at first it was kind of jarring. Like, it almost felt like he had, like, a switch had flipped. He'd gone from terrified of the repercussions to being like, hey, you guys want to talk about my car? But like, it was a little jarring, but it was obvious, like, it wasn't necessarily real. Like, I was torn between either this guy doesn't understand where he's at and what's happening, or he's playing a character. And he's like, maybe this is my ticket out. I kind of leaned in more towards does this guy even fully grasp what's going on? It almost seemed like he had forgotten. Like not make us forget, but he forgot.
I saw that that's how you read it. I disagree.
I read it that way because he kept emailing us afterward about friends. Not, can you take the video down? Not, what do I have to do to get the video taken down? And then it's, hey, I'm subscribing and I'm a fan of your channel.
That is his hyperactivity. That's a response to how scared that he is, right? The fact that he needs for you to give him any confirmation that lives in a civil place, that to me says that this is a route that he's taken to see if he can lessen the outcome, right? That's the route. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, the guy's, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that he's crazy, because I don't want to take off the table that he deserves the responsibility for his actions, right?
100%, yeah.
But the guys, there is a screw that's missing someplace, right? Yeah. He did not fully read the directions. We can fucking assume that, right? So we don't know between Xander and I whether or not our assessment is right either one. So this guy, I want to talk about the fact that when you guys are done with the catch, this first one, what's up, Chris? You're busted. You're losing.
I'm sorry. We were talking earlier about how the original decoy, Olivia, would be willing to chat with us. She FaceTimed me and is watching us live right now. And she's making comments about the things we're talking about Diego. It's just funny.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. You have a personal audience. That's nice.
Yeah. The decoy that played this character, Olivia, right here.
Yes. Well, in Olivia's case, we go with Olivia, right? We call
her Olivia. Yeah.
In Olivia's case, I'm sure that we're like friends by mutuality.
Mutuality, correct.
Is how you can describe that.
Yeah, friends by proxy.
Right. We know of the sphere where we exist in.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about wrapping this catch up, guys. So
yeah, of course.
In the first catch, you guys don't call the cops, and so it's probably not on your mind. Look, you got every single cell firing all at the same time. You've never done this before. You don't know you're ahead from your ass when it comes to any of this or how it's going to play out.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
At any point, does it dawn on either one of you guys, like, maybe I should call the cops, or what should be the outcome here? Have you played in your mind, like, what would be the outcome?
I think we were taking, go ahead, Xander, but I think we were deciding, and we even used it as a diffusion to Diego, that we were not going to call the cops if he talked to us. I think is what we actually said to him. Yeah,
that's what we said in the moment. But if I remember correctly, during that time, we were still under the guise of, we'll get all the information, all the evidence, submit it to the police, and then let them ground these guys up. It wasn't until later they were like, why don't we just call the cops while we're here?
Exactly.
Yeah. That happens during number 6.
Yeah.
So that catch, the very first catch, that ends. Yeah. You guys immediately start moving on to other stuff. And while that's happening, like we spoke about, then we go through like the grueling process for the next week. Well, we say it's grueling, but it's probably the least amount of work we've ever done on an episode. Right. Yeah. But we go through the grueling process of creating what Minor Defense Force the show is going to be.
Well, that's not entirely what happens. I post the episode, you do the call we talked about earlier and say, pull that shit. It sucks. And I pulled it. And a few days later, we start recutting the fucking thing.
Well, yeah. And it's extensive. I mean, it's an extensive. It's an extensive process. And it was then too. And then it's easier again for a little while because of the fact that we created an exact format.
Template. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is how we're going to do things.
The first time I wrote a script was Riyadh episode 3. The other two are off the cuff.
You know, obviously that format doesn't apply to us anymore because all of the jokes are very specific and all the bits are specific to what those jokes will be. And a lot of season 1 was me literally going through most of the chat it was almost redundant. So we do like this preview part where I talk about some of the highlighted things. Right.
And then after the thing, I would actually break it down. And I realized there was a lot of redundancy. And so we've tightened that up now, thankfully. It took some help.
And look, people are the critics of this format are going to say that it's redundant regardless. You can say that. You can say that the jokes aren't commentary toward it. You can, you can pretend that there's no world whereby you've seen like a Daily Show or you've seen a weekend update or that you've seen anybody talk about
everybody, Colbert,
politicians.
Everybody. Yeah.
Right. You can say that that's not a thing, but we know that that's the layout of it. And that's
probably 75% of stand-up comedians that are actually good.
Yeah.
Talk
and
about
I'm not
the shit that nobody wants to talk about.
I'm not claiming that we're that by a long stretch, but
well, we do sit-down comedy. It's just different.
You're a sit-down comedian.
I'm a sit-down comedian, dude. That's what I am. Yeah,
you are.
I fucking stand by that.
So
just not in the video.
So we're doing that. We're creating this show.
Yeah.
Right. And we're making this. It's not going to be a straight up and down predator catching thing. Talk about redundant. We've fucking said this 5 times. Okay. While that's happening, your pseudo friend, Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Comes out of the woodwork. And what does he start saying to you?
Basically to be our friend. Like he was like, hey man, I realized like my mistakes and I want to, maybe, talk to you more and maybe be friends. And
now let me ask you a question.
Pen pals.
Do you think, and I'm just spitballing here. Do you think that maybe he missed you?
Probably.
Look, he was in a pseudo relationship with you for a little bit.
That was the closest he got to a handshake in years. And he got shafted on it. In more ways than one.
Handshake and shaft?
He got handshake. Yeah. I fucking whoop.
So
I didn't even, but I wasn't that aggressive with it.
You slipped the handshake on the shaft is what you're saying. I just want to know.
If you want to get into the nitty gritty, I would say that is accurate. But yeah, no, he probably, the first time we really addressed what you're talking about right now was with Rob. That's the first time in the writing we ever addressed like the heart. Well, no, we did it with Brisk too. Alex Brisk, episode 4, where it's like the heartbreak of realizing that I thought I had this girlfriend. And now I don't.
And listen, and look, we're not by no stretch of the imagination, even in Robbie's case, am I trying to draw an equivalency to like, okay, well, you feel some sense of real emotionality for this person. So thereby, because of your tender emotionality, let's take it easier on you. It's not about that. There's still a falsified sense of emotion happening anyways, because you don't have that tangible thing about somebody being real. Right. And regardless of what anybody wants to say, that's a gigantic aspect to anybody. I mean, look, you're a human. That's how you're designed. Sorry, but that's what it is.
Yeah, so I would say there's a part of that. I mean, we know he got fired like within the next day or two of the airing because I called and found the Dollar General that he worked at and called him and told him to watch the video.
Yeah.
I Googled some fucking Dollar General, so I found it.
When he messages you, I want to talk sort of, though, I do want to talk about what you
want me to pull the email up so I can actually reference it?
Oh, if you got to be so fucking accurate.
I mean, I'm just saying I don't remember all the details because I was too busy trying to play in a cage fight.
While you're doing that, Xander, when do you become aware that this guy's still trying to talk? And do you think that do you think there's anything in what I'm saying? I'm not attempting to be facetious when I say this, but in a realistic way, man, like I think that there's a loneliness about the voice that he has assumed is real. And so there's some weird instinct to continue to talk to that voice.
Xander, bring it up on the screen. Can you bring it up?
What do I bring it up?
Log in the MDF, type in SOP, then space MODZ.
Okay, hold on.
See if you can just fucking bring it up. Let's show them. This is members, baby. Show them something. Let's follow along. The first one is literally while we're like leaving the parking lot, by the way.
Yeah.
He literally says hi, like while we're leaving the fucking parking lot. He's our first ever email to the Minor Defense Force Gmail, by the way.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
That night.
He just says hi?
Yeah.
The first one is like hi or hello. It's all it says.
Hold on. Let me
pull this up. Let him see it. I don't have a problem letting people see it.
Like he's going, like basically what you're saying.
Like checking in.
Yeah, he's going like, hey, I'm here. Are you?
Kinda. And he messages, I think there's a screenshot somewhere where he also had messaged us through Whisper at that time, like back through Whisper.
And just to be clear, I mean, look, everybody understands where we're at in the catch, but just to be clear, he knows full well that there is no girl. That's not real. It's
right.
It's a fake person. The person that he's messaging is you. He knows that.
Yeah. So right here on screen, the people are seeing it saying literally hello.
Yeah,
that's the whole email.
It just says hi.
Hello. Yeah, that's it. And then next one.
Okay, there's
was
two
the
ways.
The same day.
Yeah.
February 20th. The next email.
It's me again. I got rid of that app. Just letting you know.
Just letting you know. I got rid of the app.
Okay, so so in the first email, there is a case to be made that maybe he's just going test 1 2. Maybe that's what he's doing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but let's just go with that. And then, so now in the other one, this is what I'm saying. I do think he understands the gravity of it because he's trying to anchor you guys to this feeling that he's not as bad as you may have thought, which is a strategy. He's employing a strategy, right?
He apparently had the capacity for strategy, which is impressive enough.
Well, look, it's not a high dollar strategy.
It's not stratego over here. But he says, hey, so it's me. I got rid of the app. Just letting you know. That's literally what he says on the second email. And then a week later, we get our first sort of paragraph.
Yeah.
Hey there. It me again. I'm reading this verbatim, by the way. It me again, Diego. No punctuation. I just got done watching a video about me. I just wanted to let you know that I felt hella embarrassed about watching myself there. Anyway, there's no punctuation here, by the way. Anyway, just wanted to let you know about that. Honestly, I don't know what to say, but I won't ever do that again. And that about it. I learned my lesson from that whole experience. Can you reply back if you read this? All right. I'm not even fucking kidding. That is verbatim what that email says.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So are you replying to any of these?
No, the first three I did not reply to.
Because and here's some pretty strange insight to where we're at now, right? So every one of these decisions are decisions that you and we labor over, especially at this point, because we feel like, look, we've really built things up and we've worked so hard on this stuff that so we really labor about the decisions. We still do get contacted by people sometimes, and you and I will have a full-blown hour-long conversation. Should we do this? Should we do that? We really try to think over, and rationalize outcomes of whether or not that should happen. Now, in most cases, I think there's not a world that exists where you specifically, because you're the show host, you're the person who's going to take the heat for shit, man. So I don't think there's a world that exists where you should be in conversations with predators after the fact, no matter what.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Because they should never get the impression that there is some sort of accessibility to you. You guys don't know each other. You're not friends. You have nothing in common.
Is episode 1. We really didn't know, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
So, I had this false idea in my head, like maybe one day we can talk to these people again, a year from now, 2 years from now, and see how it affected their life and did they change for the better.
I know that people
That's the empath.
And listen, I'm not saying that I don't understand that people wouldn't watch that. But here's what I think. I think we are just giving those guys a platform to have told a really well thought over lie by that point. Right? So. They've just had time to really cultivate this, this is what really happened story. And so you just give those people a platform in order to say things maybe you have no response to. And for what? We've got everything we need right there on the video, man. Okay, so
then 45 minutes later was the start of a 2-week long chain of emails.
Okay.
So literally 45 minutes later, because as Panther says in the chat, you should reply back. I read this. I didn't reply because I didn't have time. I was still at work. 45 minutes later, though, I get this. And I subscribe to your channel so I can watch more of your upcoming videos. And again, what I did was very, very wrong and dumb. And honestly, if I can turn the clock back and prevent myself from ever doing that, I would do so. But I can't, and now I'm beating myself up.
Well, Chris, you blew my fucking hook, dude. I was trying to get you to the point to get everybody. The big payoff is, and guess what? This motherfucker subscribed. He's a subscriber. So
yeah, I don't know if he's still subscribed though.
So there you are. So in theory, we think he gets to see all of this, or not this.
I doubt he's paying for the membership. He lost his job.
It'd be really funny if he was, though.
In parentheses, it says, not literally, I'm sure you know what I mean, to the point of I'm like beating myself up. Parentheses, not literally, I'm sure you know what I mean. From what I did, and honestly, I don't know what else to say, but a reply back from you would be cool, I guess. I don't know. Sorry for bothering you right now if you're busy.
I like that he incorporates real life stutters.
Yeah. I was
Dude,
thinking
he
about
types
that.
In stutters. Yes.
He literally put
he types
a space filler.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I type how I talk, but I don't type
I've always had that same argument about people who make themselves speak a certain way. Like, dude, you don't write the accent. You have an accent.
Unless you're writing Uncle Tom's Cabin.
This dude realistically is writing his stutters just so that you're aware
that he stutters.
It's so that you're aware that he's stammering and so shocked with his actions.
So upset. He's so upset.
So there it is. So you gave the hook. The hook. The moral of this story is, you get to your first catch, and it goes pretty well.
I would say overall for a first catch.
I mean, yes. for being a first catch, it goes about as well as you can anticipate. You guys, you make it all the way through it. Nobody gets hurt. You guys are in a scenario where, hey, I can hear most of the things he has to say, so that's good.
Well, luckily, so that's back when I was using both of our audios so that you could hear. So if you're watching that chase in episode 1, the reason you can hear Xander so clearly over me yelling is because I used both audio. Yeah. I literally was taking the time to mute myself breathing heavy so that you could hear fucking Xander talking to him. I mean, look, let's be honest. I was a lot different, a little bit worse shape then. I was fucking huffing puffing.
That sets us off on creating this show that becomes this show. And even this show that we're on right now. You know what I mean? If in fact you'll indulge us to believe that this shit you're watching right now is a show.
Well, I think for certain type of people, this behind the scene conversation is exciting. It's shit I like to see. We've talked about this before, man. I like to see them. I like to see directors of movies I enjoy or actors talk. Like, I used to watch movies with the commentary on purpose. I wanted to hear what's going in your mind while you're making the decision to film it this way. Or when
we're first having this conversation and I'm bringing up this versus the other thing, you say to me, you go, I don't know if Talking Pred and this is distinctual. And I said, I don't care. I want to see them both.
Right. I told you that it should all be just Talking Pred.
Right. But here's the point.
Because it's a great name.
At some point, Conversations with Chris goes away because eventually Talking Pred is the thing that we've already done the retrospective of the episode that you just saw.
Right. So they get 21 episodes of this show.
Right. So obviously at some episodes. Point, there is no Conversations with Chris because it is Talking Pred.
21 weeks is basically the end of the year. So this show's going to basically run for the end of the year, and then Talking Pred is going to be happening for the newer episodes at the same time. So it's literally just going to become that. Conversation with Chris is a very limited 21 episodes.
I apologize that when I come up with the name Talking Pred, I don't think to myself, that actually sounds like the Pred is talking.
No, but it's not, dude. I'm telling you, it's such a good name. It's literally a play on talking Talking Dead, I think most people fucking get it. And I don't think you're going to have a lot of confusion on that. I don't think we're going to have a problem. I love the name.
I mean, also there's a comment saying talking shop. That doesn't mean the mechanic shop is talking about us.
I think Talking Pred is a better name than a conversation with Chris. And I straight up,
we're talking about.
But I straight up told you that we should just name the whole fucking thing Talking Pred. Like I
look, at the end of the day, it is. I think I do like for the members right now.
Yeah.
And for a long time there will be a difference, so they'll know. Oh, that's that retrospective, or
that's the one going back right now. Right.
That's the thing that just came out. Right.
Yeah.
So as the two things are happening simultaneously, I do want to call it different things so that the members have a choice. If they would like to watch the retrospectives, they can. If they don't want to watch those,
yes.
If behind the scenes shit is not their cup of tea, they don't have to take the cup of tea.
It's true.
Right.
That's true.
So, all right. So we're pretty much through that first one. Give me your guys' final thoughts on them. And let me say this before you do that. My final thoughts on creating the program, I think.
Well, we got some questions to answer too.
Oh, okay, yeah, more. Yeah,
see, you're not privy to the chat. But go ahead with your final thoughts first.
I can't even see myself, much less the fucking chat.
That's true. Power outages fucking suck. What I'm saying is,
see my hands.
If you would like to do your final thoughts, then I can go through some of these questions.
Oh, by all means, I was doing a wrap up.
You're wrapping. Oh, okay. Well,
I think that we created something that's really interesting. I know it's not for everybody, and not everything should be for everybody. Like I said before, I don't want all my comedies to be exactly the same. I don't want them to look the same or feel the same. I don't want all my sci-fi films to do that. I don't want my dramas to do that. I think that there's enough room in the market. I think people can appreciate the other catching programs they watch more by not having exactly the same format from every single person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And more than that, I get to write bits that you absolutely just murder. You know what I mean? Like you absolutely just go out there and kick the shit out of it. The confetti bit I can watch. I meticulously showed you guys. I told you how I want the confetti to even be dropped, and yet every time I watch it, I laugh.
Well, what's funny is I still haven't vacuumed the floor upstairs.
I knew you wouldn't. I said
it's still a party. Still, well, I'm going to pull the carpet up anyway, so I figured why fucking waste the time. I'm literally just pulled the carpet up down here this like 2 nights ago because we're about to build out the MDF fortress down in this bitch.
So let's do some questions, man.
Okay, well, first of all, for my good friend Adam Buccarati, who has been since I was he taught me how to drive stick. That's how long I've known Adam Buccarati. He's a sergeant in the National Guard, 20 years or some shit now. He's a member, so appreciate you, brother. He says, good job on tonight's catch. He wanted to know what ended up happening with that obviously drunk guy that confronted us in the very beginning of the catch tonight. I kind of want to address that for him.
Yeah.
He became a fucking groupie by the end of it when his drunk ass realized that I wasn't the fucking guy there to meet a child, which is what he accused me of because he was so fucking drunk.
Well, first of all, look, your adrenaline might be so jacked up he didn't know what he was first mad with. He was
he was mad. He said because we were filming.
He was mad because you were violating his First
Amendment right to film
by filming, which is not the case. Not how that
not
works.
The case. Yeah, you need a permit.
No,
I don't. And he was like, your First Amendment right. You can film in public, but what about mine? And I'm like, bro, you're in public. I think the law says like if you have you should have a reasonable expectation to be filmed when in public. I'm pretty sure is what it addressed. Anyway, Adam, by the end of the night, he turned from heel to face. It was a plastered face. There was a comment on the video from the manager of that Sheets, by the way, who said that they've banned him because not only that, he kept getting drunker and kept trying to come in and buy more alcohol. So they actually ended up banning him from the store while we're there. It was it was great. Panther actually made a good question, and I don't know if you actually want to address this with me. We're talking about the pull-aways and takeaways, the puppy dog closing, this stuff. And he says it sounds like, and I quote, the mystery method.
No.
Right.
So in the
we know what you're referencing, by the way.
Right. And we do know what you're referencing.
We're very well aware.
Without getting into that. Yeah. What's actually happening in that is written as a reaction to the puppy dog close, which you could date back all the way to like the original How to Meet Friends and Influence People and things like this, right? So the puppy dog close is probably dated to the 40s, maybe the 50s. This
it's
is where
older. Yeah.
The stuff that salespeople had already been doing, the Zig Ziglars of the world who are about to make their name gigantically, they're formulating the concepts of what should we call this, right? Is there push pull and things like that? Sure. But when it comes to the catches itself, it's more of just a hard takeaway. And that's all. And there's no other side coming, because the other person has to fight completely for the cooperation, as opposed to it kind of going back and forth. Sometimes in the videos, Chris will blatantly tell somebody, that's it and I'm gone, but you just keep being weird. I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what that really is he's opening the door to see if you're just going to drop it and he'll go on to the next person. It's the way for these people to never have to interact with MDF ever.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand where some of that would come across as being.
Well, I just think he's seen it backwards. The mystery method ripped off sales process and said, "Here, let me apply this to picking up women."
Which is
he
fine.
Didn't invent shit.
Which
it's
is
all
fine.
sales.
It's like
it's all sales.
Yes, I mean
we could literally write the Predator version of this and call it the MDF method by just repurposing it for talking to Preds, and literally it's the same thing.
I would say with the sales process, there's nothing that's so pre-written, so preordained about a script that you're talking about. It's all stuff that's driven by being able to anticipate assuming the sell.
Yep. But it's also improv. It's improv on a level that most people don't know. They can't achieve that. I'm literally reacting while influencing. Like I don't know how else to explain it. I'm literally creating I'm creating the scenario I want to create passively. That's how I'm doing it. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Would you say that though? I'm creating the result I want through passive sales.
Yeah, but let's not get too far deep into that, because the reality is, in this scenario, you're talking about sales specifically, but in the scenario that we're talking about as it applies to catching these guys, that's why it is not, in fact, a sale. And that's what makes it so staunchly different. You're
right, but until I'm in person with them, then it 100% is a sale.
Then it's 100% a sale. And
it flips 100% when I'm in person with them. Absolutely. That's the sales process. If you've ever wanted to go, I'd like to get better at sales, watch these fucking Predator interviews when I approach them. That's what you need to watch.
Go on now. Go to the next question, my man.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if there's any more questions. There's some funny comments. We didn't have a lot of questions tonight. I did reach out and say, like, hey, if you have questions, let us know before the show. Nobody really did. But Sizzo said, why not write a book and describe the mental process of the predator and decoying to potentially help other catchers?
Look, that's probably fair to a specific degree. But here's the thing. None of us are going to claim to be clinical psychologists. That would be silly.
Not at all.
I would assume that, most of the people who are on right now, me and the two of you guys, we're fans of the cornerstone philosopher / psychologist in the world. You could, we could probably do our fair share of quoting citations. That a legitimate psychologist does not make you, right? So,
right.
But it is what I said in Frieza's thoughts, where I said, mostly, man, you're a guy who's got the front row seat to the world's worst view of the worst people, right? And it's like you cannot go through the same process every single day without getting the hang of something, right? And so I don't know if it's up to us to inform other people, or if it's up to you, Chris, to inform other people.
But I don't even think it's that. I don't know if anybody can just do it.
No, because
with an instruction manual. Because how do you write an instruction manual on 1,000 different things that can fucking happen?
And with what we're doing, it's years of the sales process.
Yes.
Baked in. Right.
Yes.
So you can't, there's not going to be a book that's going to replicate the years of the sales process, learning how to assume the sell in every dynamic of the sales.
And training other people how to do that in person. Yes.
And look, and here's the other thing. What we do is not even for everybody. Not everybody even likes it, and that's totally cool. Like, other people want they're just confrontation junkies. They love that shit, just like they love true crime. They want to see some motherfucker get his. I get it. I get exactly why they feel like that. And that's not what we do. So not only is it not our for us to tell other people how to do their catches, there's plenty of people out there who don't even appreciate what it is that we're doing. Right. So,
and honestly, I don't know what the statistics are, but we definitely, I would say, have a higher percentage of like actual investigation / indictment / arrests than I think a lot of them. But I don't know the actual amount, but that is our actual ultimate goal. And so we decided very early, we didn't want to create a situation where assaults were going to happen either way.
Well, listen, my man, let's go ahead and wrap this.
Yeah, we roast on the backside, baby.
This is a retrospective of episode number 1.
Yep.
Obviously, because we're so innovative, we're going to do our next retrospective on episode number 2.
Son of a bitch. Are you
kidding? Is what I think. That's
number
what I
2. DJ,
that's
DJ Roger. Next Sunday at 8:30, unless there's a catch. So that's what happened tonight, which is why this episode came out later, which is fine. A catch is a good reason for us to delay this. I'm sure they're not upset.
Give me your wrap-ups. Give me your thoughts looking
Xander,
back.
go. You've been kind of quiet for a while. You wrap yourself
Xander,
up there, bud.
Not from then, but from your perspective now, looking back at catch 1. Just what's your first initial reaction to when you think about catch 1?
I really like one of the interesting things though that I do think about when I think back on catch 1 is it feels like a very obvious from point A to point B of where we're at now. Like what I mean by that is like a lot of stuff evolves so rapidly. Now, of course, from the first cut of the first episode to the second cut of the first episode, that's an entirely different show. But
Sure.
our procedure for handling it evolved and got better, but the baseline of how it started never really changed, which to me is good because it means like we were on to something at the beginning and we just got better at it over time.
Absolutely.
So like looking back, like there's not anything I'm like, oh man, we really should have done this, or oh man, we should have done that. I was like, oh, we just didn't know that at that point. Like we knew that later and we learned it pretty quickly.
Bro, it's made me consider going back and trying to rewrite and recut some of those older episodes with like our methodology now of being a lot more loose-lipped when it comes to fucking people.
And you know what? When you mentioned that to me before, I just think
you gotta let it the way it was.
You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the audience. That's how it happened, and you can literally watch the evolution of this program from it being a phone call between us.
Episode 1 to 22, different show. Same format, different show.
And all the stuff that will happen throughout the next season and wherever this goes and wherever this show ends up finding its home and whatever may happen. Right. And all the stuff that we're prepared to show people that they have no idea we're working on the backside, things that they may not even expect.
It's awesome.
Let's just let that evolution live out there, man. You know?
No, I'm okay with that. I've thought about it because we finally asked the question around 16 when you kind of joined 15 when you finally like joined the writing team with me, and it like actually writing actual words, right? Is it okay for us to be and lean in on the comedy more? And so what these guys don't know is for a few episodes we slow rolled that. We were like, okay, let's do a little bit,
and you know what,
a little bit more.
We'll get there and talk about.
We'll get to it when we get to those episodes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the evolution of why we believe that what we've created is a comedy show, and that it's not defined by whether or not.
What tools does the team need to make better product and better catches? An industrial espresso machine, I would imagine, would be first
for all those late night catches.
I think I pretty much encapsulated that with the words taco truck.
Oh, he did. He did say that. I have an Amazon list that I've been building of like shit that would make our lives easier. I'll post it in the Gilded, but it's nothing like crucial. You don't have to do anything, man. Donate your time by watching the shit, liking the shit, sharing the shit. And if you
we
want to
assume
donate
the
money,
responsibility of that. If you guys continue to be members and
we're using that money to improve our product. If you watch the live stream tonight, was the first night we used a GoPro as the live stream camera, streamed through a camera, running on a rig, through a phone, running on a rig with the battery pack connected to it, like with a fucking boomstick that motherfucker was on for stability. Like, you don't understand. Like, that is a fucking beautiful rig that I've created for live streaming. It's fucking
it's evolved.
Yeah.
Look, not for nothing. We're unabashed capitalists. We don't apologize, and we're going to continue to pursue avenues that will allow us to do that. And as much as I can say that, we're willing to work for it. And so it's
I think that's evident. If you watch
the agreement,
nobody has ever watched our show and been like, you don't put enough time into this.
The agreement that we make with you guys is we'll continue to generate content. We'll continue to pull our hair out, especially me. I'm bald, by the way. By asking ourselves what extra stuff can we create for our members first, and then for everyone at large, and that will create the pathways by which we will make money. And because we feel like it's ours to work for, we deserve to work for it first.
Yeah, and we're putting in the work to be worth your membership money. Right. Like that's what we're doing.
So Chris, tell me what when you think of episode 1 now, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? And then let's wrap this bad boy up, and then surprise, motherfucker, let's go.
Honestly, it's a lesson in how not to allow things going too long. I now no longer
like this fucking show.
We're doing but I no longer allow the catch interview to go an hour and a fucking half. Like I'm like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. But of course, now we're calling Snowflake. So now there's an end. But I told Xander this on our way home tonight. I forgot the main segment that we wanted to add to this season, and that's here's what I think, because his dude was trying to get him out of there, and it was a weird situation where I was kind of trying to convince the guy, like, bro, that's not your problem.
Look, when I was texting you, that went through my mind. But the reason why I didn't is because I'm thinking to myself, like, look, it's not predicated on that. This guy's he's admitted to the stuff that he's got to admit to.
Yep.
We can all see what this fucking guy is. So not for nothing. Now it's a waiting game about the cops. And if they don't show up on time, then that's what the story is. There's nothing you can do.
The good news is we do have filmed of the sheriffs finally showing up about 15 minutes later.
So episode 1, brother, what's your thoughts beyond that when you think about the way that things went down? What's your final takeaway?
My final takeaway was it was a catalyst that, on the job learning, I learned enough things to be able to, I think, propel ourselves into the rest of that week, which encompassed 5 episodes, 1 week. And so there was really a catalyst that just fucking blew this thing off it was the most surprising thing of how many people had messaged us in that first day. Right. And so that's really it, man. It's that everybody reacts differently. The shocked me the most was that he wanted to shake my hand. Like that really shocked me in the moment.
I'm not going to shake your hand, brother.
I'm not going to shake your hand, brother. Like, I'm just not going to do it. And one of them almost got me. And I think I even said to that guy, he almost got me. so yeah, I've shaked one hand of one catch, and it's Robbie. That's it.
Handshake and shafted, as Sizzo said.
Handshake and shafted, baby. That's our shit. Anyway, yeah, man. It was a catalyst to what I think is great, and I really enjoy what we do. It's fucking great. I love it.
Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Put a condom on it. I'm done.
From the writer, I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate the fact that you guys are members, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys allow for me to be able to write to Chris, hey, shake that ass around and yell at a cat or two, man. Let's get it fucking done.
It's great.
Tell these fine folks good evening and bid them adieu.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Fare thee well.
All right, cool. You guys know that no crime's too minor when it involves minors, and for that